if ChatGPT is going to deploy the advertising engine, where do you expect it's going to see? Is it blending secretly, like it's making recommendations secretly without telling you it's advertising?
I think initially they will avoid that because they will be getting a lot of money directly from other platform other ways over there. But
Yeah.
as they start seeing the growth slow down, then they will possibly start introducing this kind of things. Initially, as a test, they might be much more transparent over there and say that, well, this is sponsored by this one, that's why we are putting it at the front of your choice.
You can use the long tail keyword strategy, right? So you focus on the very, very niche keywords, make sure when the niche customer trying to find you and you are there, right? So is there any similar practical advice for these SMEs?
AEO is a channel built on top of SEO over there. So SEO strategy is still critical, and that will be still very important for you over there. But I think if you want to do 2-3 things, which is much more better, is that first of all, if you're a commerce website, make your website.
You're watching today's podcast. I'm Boyuan. If you enjoy deep conversation about building the future of technology and startups, please subscribe and stay updated. Welcome to today's AI. Today, we're going to dive into a hot topic. It feels like it's a next big inflection point for online shopping. Sometimes people are calling it Agentic E-commerce. So the last wave of e-commerce innovation, it feels like it's more from the seller side, from Amazon to Shopify to social media. So we build a better storefront, better advertising, and better logistics. But this time, this AI wave, it feels like it's actually shifting power to the buyer side. Now, buyer can use AI to make a smarter shopping and even taking actions. So to help us unpack this idea, this concept of agentic e-commerce, I'm joined by Habib Baluwala, GM of AI and Data Foundations at One. He's going to unpack us this idea. So Habib is following the space quite closely, not just as a data leader, but also someone who understands how AI is reshaping this industry from inside out. So Habib, welcome.
Thank you, Boyan. Really happy to be back.
Maybe let's start from basic this time. What is agentic e-commerce? So we've had like chatbots or personal assistants, or even like recommendation engines for years, right? But this time, the agentic shopping feels like it's something else. So what does it mean?
So I think of this in this way. When we initially, before the days of the internet, all our shopping used to happen in form of shops where you used to go have a look at the products and then try to decide, okay, which one do we want to go. When the internet came in, all shops started becoming e-shops where we started looking at products on the on the internet itself rather than physically visiting it. Now, I think agentic commerce is another layer in front of that, another development where you might not need to visit the website. You're given the agency of going and browsing and trying to find out the best deals for you or the best opportunities for you to an agent, to an LLM effectively over there. And then based on that, they're coming up with recommendations, or you're even sometimes giving them a budget and saying to them, okay, find me this within this budget and just buy it for me over there. So if you look at from a personal shopper from a shopper perspective, it's like you have an AI which is your personal shopper who knows your budget, your preferences, your style, and would say it works 24/7 in order for you to get what you want over there. For a lot of companies, it's a new channel of selling their product over there, and which is also going to change the way they design their current e-shops and the e-profiles, which means that they need to start designing from an AI perspective as well.
Let's say Amazon, right? So Amazon had a recommendation engines for years, right? They had billings, they served billions of customers around the globe. So customer feels like they are more sticky to the platform. But this time, we have a new portal to these millions of stores around the globe. And the recommendation, not just coming from the platform, it's shifting to this new portal now. So everyone's start to use ChatGPT or Claude. So these agents, they're all trying to take actions. How does this technology shift actually?
So I think if one of the major things that you can possibly look at as a shift is that initially you used to design websites and everything for the human user, and the ads were very visual, and humans used to be attracted based on the ads that were created. Now it's going to be more and more APIs over there. The bots can still look at the visuals and work towards it, but now you have to design not ads for humans, but you have to design APIs for AI so that they can consume the data that's required. They can make analysis much more effectively, and you need to structure your data in such a way that an AI can understand it over there. So rather than having lots of images, which takes a bit of time for an AI to consume and to start reading through, if you have it in the form of text, which is in a JSON format or something which is easy readable by an AI, it might become much more powerful and easier for it to then make a decision on it for you.
So it's also changing the buying behavior. Unlike we browse in the last wave, so most of our actions are browsing, then take actions, comparing these things ourselves. Now this time it feels like the AI agent all do this behind the scene on
Yes,
our behalf.
completely agree. And I think what it does is it actually collapses the conversion funnel a little bit. So if you look at the conversion funnel, it starts with the awareness, goes through a funnel where you have awareness, then acceptance and other things, and then buying, final buying. What it does is that humans don't no longer need to have awareness. The LLM just needs to have awareness. How do we create awareness for the LLM? How do we design our website and our content in such a way, or our APIs in such a way, that it comes up as the first option for an LLM when it's trying to search for a particular product or a particular request from a customer.
Yeah, so the other day I was trying the Atlas browser to
Mm,
buy a pizza for me. So it
mm,
took actually 15 minutes, much longer than I did. But the way it is, doesn't feel like it's a tool, automation tool. It feels
mm.
like it's human because it's thinking, it's comparing things and the reasoning why they decided this pizza over the other one because it's flavor and it's near me. So after 15 minutes, it actually ordered a perfect pizza for me. It's amazing.
Completely agree. And I think we have to think of it two ways. Now, it took 15 minutes for multiple reasons. One reason is that it had to go and actually browse through the website, look at the images, convert that, and then try to work through it. Now, the future that a lot of other large organizations are looking at is that we have created content which is easily consumable by AI. You will no longer need to browse through the web pages, convert that, and try to find the best deal. And that's what, if you look at in the last few weeks, Walmart, a lot of the other big retailers have actually partnered with ChatGPT and said that we are going to support agentic commerce over there, which is means that their products will be much more easily visible. Their products will be much more easily be discoverable by the AI, so that if you want to buy next time, it will be much more easier for you. If Walmart offers a pizza, it will be much more easier than compared to Domino's in that case.
When they connect these data in their catalog to the agent system, like using MCP or other agent-to-agent protocols,
Mm.
the data will become much richer, and these agents can make smarter and faster decisions.
Completely agree. And I think there's something called Agentic Commerce Protocol. I think it's being developed by Visa as well. And a lot of other ones are supporting it in that way. Also, I think it was developed initially by Stripe, but then it's been taken over by a few other ones. But there will be a few standards that will become more common. There might be one or two winners in that case, but all of these are making it easier for these e-commerce players, or even these big orgs, to make their products much more easily visible for the end user.
So yeah, so it seems like every big tech companies they're trying to build these infrastructures like OpenAI trying to build Atlas browser and agent into
Mm,
ChatGPT. Google is releasing the AP2 protocol. And also in the blockchain space, they are they built a new protocol called X42. The traditional payment network like Visa you mentioned and MasterCard, they're all trying to build trust layers. So who do you think is leading the race at the moment? So which technology is more promising?
I think, see, if you want to look at a clear winner from this, it's going to be ChatGPT, because ChatGPT has the most, or I would say OpenAI in that case, because they has the most knowledge about you and your workings, what you like, what you don't like, because it has all the data that you want over there about you. So they will have a better hold of creating that layer of agentic commerce that will be then matching with it. Now, that being said, what it will also do is kind of break down the responsibility from a agentic search perspective towards by themselves, keep it for themselves. But from a commerce perspective, how the best protocols for commerce should go, they would leave it to the big players like Visa, Mastercard, Stripe, and so on, in order to decide and say, well, this is how we want commerce to go about that. Because to be honest, there is, what you're doing is, if you for an individual perspective, you're losing agency. You're losing agency to search, that's important, but you're losing agency to actually make payments, and you're sharing a part of your identity, so with the agent, so that it can go and buy something for you. Now, how that interaction needs to happen so that you don't lose your identity, but also make good decisions along the way, that's quite important.
I noticed that every time you ask ChatGPT a question, when they finish the quest, they always ask you back, do you want to do more? Do you want to do more? So it's kind of sticky and stickier the more we use it. And every time when ChatGPT release a new product, it seems like it's going to kill a dozen of new startups. So for this agentic AI e-commerce, do you see there are any opportunities for startups?
I think the biggest opportunity for a startup right now is that there is a huge layer of SMEs that is going to struggle in order to get their products onto ChatGPT or into the agent's purview effectively. So one of the biggest areas I see for a startup is how can they make it easier for any SMEs to get their products and other things uh, onto the agentic browser or the agentic commerce platform much more easily over there. That's going to be one of the biggest areas of growth that I see. The other one is there is going to become an industry of AEO, which is agentic engine optimization, like we had SEO over there. And that industry is going to be very critical because then if all your commerce is happening through a ChatGPT interface or a LLM interface, then how do you get your product to the first level or the first consideration over there? That's going to be very critical, I see.
Yeah, so AO and GEO sound like a very hot topic as well.
Yes.
Whereas previously, all these shopping platforms, they're trying to get our humans' attention. But now, all these SMEs you mentioned and also the shopping platform, they're trying to get attention of AI agents.
Yes, that's true. And getting attention of AI agents is going to rely on how well do you understand the AI agents as well. Over there, humans are complex. AI is also equally complex over there because they have been designed on human principles effectively over there. So that is going to be very tough. And if you're able to crack or able to support organizations, then we'll say you will be in a good position.
Previously, when we shop, we know there's a recommendation behind the scene. They try to learn us, but it's still
Mhm.
a little bit transparent, right? So we see, oh, we bought this, and our friends bought this, so maybe the recommendation suggests the other product, and we know it's not completely a black box. But this time, the agent does the behind the scene. How does it decide which supplier or which platform to recommend to us, and it's more like a black box. And how do you see whether there's any risk or any concern over the trust and controls because it's a black box?
Yeah, I think, see, there are multiple risks over there. First risk is that because you're losing agency, there is a big risk of overspend. So, for example, if you don't set up, I remember this article that came out where somebody asked, give the agency to ChatGPT. This was around 6 or 8 months ago, to actually buy a dozen eggs, and it spent around $40 if it's on that, which was ridiculous even at that time for this thing. But that's the thing you need to be careful about. How are you giving agents control to do what and to what extent? Like an example was that I think Visa or MasterCard came out with an idea that initially we will give agents only agency to buy certain amount or certain limit. Like similar to PayWave. Initially, PayWave, you could only pay up to $80 without a signing anything or without a PIN, and now that has been extended to more amounts and so on. But that these are some kind of initial restrictions we might have when it comes to agentic commerce, which might change with time and with confidence and fraud detection becoming much more stronger in that case. But to your other point, in this, it will change a lot of habits for the users. But how will agents decide that? It will first rely on your context that you're providing on the immediate need, why you need it, what is the budget that you might have, what quality your expectations are, and so on. Second thing it will rely on is your history as well. So whatever memory that you have provided and previous historical conversations will become important. So, for example, if you have said that previously that this brand you don't associate it with, or you associate with brands only with an eco perspective, it will try to look for those kind of brands. It will try to
Yeah.
use that memory in order to make those decisions over there. So, it will not look at price consciousness. In that case, you will have to be very specific that, okay, look for the cheapest option if that's the case that you want for that instance. But it is going to be a hit and miss in the initial few ones over there. But as time goes by, it will learn more from your habits and will be able to realize that, well, when you're buying a pizza, you're not that eco conscious. But when you're buying something which is of higher value, you're much more eco conscious in those things.
So this is the concern from the buyer side, the trust and control,
Mm,
how we use AI or ask AI to spend more responsibly.
mm,
But from the business perspective, from the other side, so how do business prevent those bad actors like, like bots, right? Traditionally, bots are prevented by these technology
mm,
like Cloudflare. But now the agents, they are more than bots. They
mm.
actually smarter than bots. So
Right.
so preventing these bad actors become more difficult?
Agreed. And I think what will happen is that ultimately it will become like an app store problem over there. So what will happen is that you might need to register your agent with a central authority. Like in the Apple App Store, you have to, any new app that comes in, goes through a process of vetting and everything, and then you register the app over there. Because initially there were a lot of bad actors which caused a lot of financial loss to a lot of people, and
Yeah.
Apple realized that we need to control this and we need to make it much more regulated. I think something similar might come up within this range where agents might be said that, okay, you can interact with only these kind of agencies, or which already have a registration with these agents, or the other way around as well. There might be a trusted security protocol that might need to be implemented, which I think some of them are working towards, like Visa and so on, which is that agents which are verified, or there's a verification process that is followed through it, only they can do commerce with the big players or with the other agents that are on the business side. So I think those things are aware. It will give a lot of opportunity for cybersecurity and other ones to create those protocols. But I generally think one of the biggest challenges will be for SMEs. How will they be able to fight? How will they be able to get a fighting chance in order to participate in this new commerce?
The AEO or GEO, the AI engine optimization or generative engine optimization for these
Mm.
SMEs. How is it different? First, how is it different from the traditional SEO?
So I think if you look at that, in a traditional SEO, what was the process? You try to search for something and it comes up with a list of web pages. the entire SEO objective was that how do you there's a ranking algorithm that works in the back end which tries to say which page should come up at the first. Now, the entire battle within the SEO range between different companies or different businesses was how do I get my web page to be on the first list, effect on the first few ones, because nobody cares about what's happening at the bottom over there. You never really click on say okay view the second page options and then try to do that. You try to look for the first few web links, and if you don't get the option from there, you either research it or something, or you change your query. Now, and SEO was designed on how do you get your choices at the top one. Now the thing is that you're no longer interacting with the Google browser. You're interacting with an AI agent. The AI agent is using other tools in order to try and find which ones are the best. Which ones are the best options for you over there. So an example could be, I might ask it that what is the best variety of chocolate that you can get within in Auckland over there. Now, in its memory, there might be certain components that might be there. So if in its memory Whitaker's is the best option, it will actually come up with that option first and try to search based on that as well. But there is another component is that as it goes through your web pages as well, if it's able to understand the information that you have provided there or not. Even if you're good in your search engine optimization and you come up with the first search results, but if an AI agent is not able to understand your offering and your value proposition, it will struggle. So your option will never come up in the consideration of the user, because the job of the AI is to go through 1,000 links or 100 links and then show up with the best options for the user. So if your website is not, what to say, if the AI cannot consume your website in a good manner, then it will not be able to come up with a better answer for you.
So last time when people search on Google engine, search engine, they ask a few keywords, and these shoppers or these search results, they list a few options. So there's a small, tiny little fighting chance for new businesses who just build these reputations or the search optimization. There are a number of search engine optimization tools they can use. And also those tools, they are built for deterministic, like metrics that you can actually measure. You can actually see the result of improving. Your listing are coming from the other page to the front page to the first page. But now when you ask AI, it's more like a probabilistic engine, and AI can give you an answer every time it's different. And sometimes it's just one answer that feels like a little bit quite desperate.
True, but I think there are companies which are actually coming up with some metrics that you can monitor across the different AI landscape as well. So, for example, one of the things you can start thinking about is your data being fed to an AI for training? Because all of the models that are being used over there now, for a lot of people who are trying to protect their IP, it's very important that they restrict their data, what data is flowing into AI, because that's their IP that they're using it. But for commerce websites, their main objective is that okay, how do I make my data much more easily accessible to bots so that it's available to my customers and they can view it as well. So I think even by making small changes in your website, the way you write content, the way you display your images and everything over there, can make a big difference in the discoverability of your website or your products to an AI over there. So, and then comes the next level that, okay, if I want to be my first product to be discoverable in an AI, what can I do?
Traditional SEO. So the search part happened at a later stage, at a sort of a, let's say, post-training stage to the recommendation engine. But now it should actually happen at a much early stage, like a training stage, so that when the new ChatGPT release, make sure they have your new data there.
Yes, that's true over there. And at the same time, how do you make your content easily consumable for AI so that they can understand in clear words what's required, what's not. If you have images, generally for AI to extract text from images is much more difficult and it will make mistakes. So rather than that, how do you provide it in a JSON format as a part of your website as well? All that. Those are the things that will be very critical.
Yeah, so there must be some certain standards, like how you actually format your website, not just for human readability, but
Mm.
now this time for AI readability.
Yes, yeah. I had actually written an article around 6 months ago or something like that, 3, 4 months ago, which talked about just that. That okay, if you follow these 5, 10 rules, then you will at least increase your visibility of your website and make it easier for AI to consume it. All that. It's not rocket science in that way, but it requires effort over there. And for a lot of organizations, where do you put your efforts and your value coming from that? That's quite important. But if you miss out on that race, you will lose market share.
I remember in the SEO for small business, when you have
Mm,
not that much budget, you can use a long tail keyword strategy, right? So you
mm.
focus on the very, very niche keywords, make sure when the niche customer trying to find you and you are there, right? So is there any similar practical advice for these SMEs?
AEO is a channel built on top of SEO over there. So SEO strategy is still critical, and that will be still very important for you over there. But I think if you want to do 2, 3 things, which is much more better, is that first of all, make your if you're a commerce website, make your website easily visible for bots. Don't try to restrict them and so on over there. There are different protocols that you can follow, and if you do that, it's going to be much more easier for bots to scrape that and to use that for the various for commerce purposes. Second thing is, if you're using images and other components over there, just be careful about how if a uh, try to and the way I'm seeing is that there can be two different versions of your website. One version is for humans where you use high resolution images, lot of colors, lot of different things in order to attract the human. And there could be another website for AI where when they're crawling it, the images are not very high resolution, because high resolution images means more compute power, and the AI will be very lazy in that case if it has to compute a bit more over there. And the other thing is, how do you structure your content so it's easily consumable by AI? For example, JSON format, Markdown format, those ones are much more easily consumable by AI. So, how do you design it that way so it can consume it more easily? If you follow these two things, that's a big bump up. And then we're saying you need to start thinking about how does your AI come up in your search area, and try different ways to change your content in order to match it.
Very good point. You should have always have a one human version of a website or e-commerce site, and the bot version or AI version of that. So make sure it's in AI's preference as well.
One area that I see which needs to transform very quickly is the ad agency area over there, because because I see that ad agencies were earlier designing a lot of stuff for humans, which is still going to be valuable. It's not going to go away. But I think they need to transform themselves on how they design them, how they change themselves for bots over there, because bots are going to make not going to be enticed by the colors or anything of that. They will be much more practical in some of these cases. Or how are you going to entice the bots in order to look at your products and be aware of your products over there? I think that's one of the main things that I see becoming a big challenge for ad agencies, because if you look at your traditional models, you had a funnel through which a lead used to come up over there, starting from awareness to the various steps to the final buying journey. But though that funnel is basically going to collapse with AI coming in play. So how do we design your future marketing content for humans as well as for AI? That's going to be very the biggest challenge I see.
Do you think Google advertising, Google keyword search,
Hmm.
keyword advertising is in danger?
I don't think it's in danger, because the way I see it is that agentic commerce is a new channel of commerce over there. It's not going to close off the old channels. It's the old channels of Google search is not going to go away. It's still going to remain. But there is a new channel of agentic commerce which is opening up. And that's where I think Google will not be able to do as well in comparison to ChatGPT, because ChatGPT has a much more user base, and it knows much more deeply about you and your preferences than Google does.
So it's like a traditional, when you browse Google or traditional social media, you often see on your feeds, it's sponsored content.
Yes.
Do you think, let's say in ChatGPT, if ChatGPT is going to deploy the advertising engine, where do you expect it's going to see? Is it blending secretly, like it's making recommendations secretly without telling you it's advertising, or it's going to be sponsored?
I think initially they will avoid that because they will be getting a lot of money directly from other platform, other ways over there. But
Yeah.
as they start seeing their growth slow down, then they will possibly start introducing this kind of things. Initially, as a test, they might be much more transparent over there when say that, well, this is sponsored by this one. That's why we are putting it at the front of your choice. Later on, they might become much more the thing saying that no, we don't need to mention it over there. I think, but again, seeing that the different patterns that we have in other platforms and other channels, those principles and those ethics should follow onto this platform as well, because this is a new channel. So having that transparency is very important.
I totally agree with that. Yeah. Thanks, Habib. This has been such an amazing topic today. And yeah, thanks for joining us, Habib.
Thanks, Brian. Really appreciated the opportunity as well.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Every follow will help us make better podcasts. I see you in the next episode.